Hi, it's Celeste, your canary in the coal mine. Today I want to talk about making a cafe mocha smoothie. This is one of my favorite kind of smoothies. You might know that I'm a big fan of smoothies because they're such a fast and easy way to get healthy things into your body. So in the mornings, especially, but not necessarily limited to mornings, I might make a cafe mocha smoothie. And here's the ingredients. So stop your screen, stop the playback right now and write these down, or take a screenshot, or get out your phone and take a shot. Anyway, what I do is I put a big handful of greens in my blender. Now the whole purpose of this smoothie is to get greens into me. The flavoring is just for flavoring. It's not the main purpose is to get healthy ingredients into me, not to be making something that's yummy. So first thing is big handful of greens. Could be spinach greens, could be kale greens. I made one this morning with, of all things, dandelion greens, because that's really good for detoxing your liver. And if they're picked at the right time, they're very mild tasting. So some kind of mild tasting greens, unless you're really used to the taste of bitter greens and you don't mind it, then use those. And then the next ingredient I put in was a small handful of almonds. And it could be any kind of nuts, raw, unsalted. And that's to give you a little bit of protein, a little bit of fat, and it's to replace the dairy products that a lot of smoothies use yogurt or some kind of milk in them. And I don't do dairy products, so this is my version, which is a vegan version of a cafe mocha. And then the next thing, I might put in a little bit of vanilla. For some reason that I don't completely understand, a lot of recipes that are predominantly chocolate also have a little bit of vanilla in them, so it must do something to balance out the flavor. And then I put in some cacao powder, which is the raw powder that chocolate is made from. And I order that online, and I always have some around because that's what I use for chocolate. It's chocolate in its natural state, doesn't have the fat in it, and it doesn't have the sugar in it. So that's what I'm using in this recipe. If you don't want to go as far as to get some of this cacao powder, but you want to try this, go to the baking section of your grocery store and look for the unsweetened chocolate powder. Usually it'll be on the bottom shelf or someplace that you really have to look for it, but Hershey's puts it out and other brands put it out. I'm not talking about hot chocolate mix. I'm talking about unsweetened chocolate powder. So you can use that in this recipe. And then, then I put in some stevia for sweetness because I'm a big fan of stevia. It's a raw natural ingredient, and it's very intensely sweet, so you don't have to use very much, and it doesn't have any calories in it. And I prefer to use that instead of using some artificial sweeteners that might damage my nervous system. And then for the coffee taste in it, let's see, did I talk about, no, I didn't talk about the protein powder. So I have some vegetable-based protein powder. Most of the protein powders that you have in the grocery store are based on dairy products, and I don't do dairy products, and they upset my system, so I wouldn't even want to try it. So you really have to look hard, but you can find all vegetable protein powders. If you don't have a problem digesting dairy, you can certainly use the ones that are based on whey, which is a dairy product, but I prefer to use the all vegetable ones. And then the coffee. So I started off using just some instant coffee powder in this recipe, either decaf or regular, depending on whether I think I need a zip or whether I'm good and it's after lunch and I don't want any additional caffeine. But I found recently that I can just as easily, since I have coffee grounds that are ground very fine to go into an espresso machine, I can just as easily dump those grounds into the blender. And since it's a powder, it's not the the grounds like you think of coffee grounds. That works just as well. And so I put in the decaf or the caffeinated coffee grounds in the fine grind. And then I add water. And I like mine to be more liquidy, so I tend to add a couple of cups of water. But if you like yours to be a little thicker, more like a shake, you can just add less water. And then I turn my blender on and blend for 30 to 60 seconds until it's nice and smooth, and pour it into a glass. And if I put in the 2 cups of water and I put in all the usual amounts of the things in the balance that I like my flavors pretty intense, then I end up with a couple of 14-ounce glasses of liquid to drink. So I might drink one right away, and I might put the other one in an insulated cup to take with me, and I'm done. And then I just have to rinse out the blender, and that's it. I mean, it's so simple, and it would be so much better for you to have, instead of your morning cup of coffee, to do this and get some greens into you with the same coffee taste that you love. And you could use the regular type of coffee if you thought you needed an eye opener. But if you're getting enough sleep, you shouldn't need that eye opener anymore. And this is another sneaky way to get more vegetables into your life. So that's my little health tip for today. And I hope that this helps you get well and stay well. Thanks.